so what do we start with?
All right, so we're making the poolish right now. We're doing 250, perfect 3 pizzas we found. So, and we're using this Bob's Red Mill
Get you in there.
bread flour.
Where is it? There we go.
What we've got, yeah. So it'll be just
So
right for us. So we need 250.
250 grams to start out with.
Mm-hmm. This is for the poolish, yeah.
Okay, so we got 250. We are making bread in a little tiny trailer, guys, so you can make bread.
Half teaspoon.
Everywhere.
Come on now. We have a 1/4 this. This is what we did last time. We just kind of eyeballed the...
Okay.
We need a 1/4 of this guy.
Okay.
So you tell me what you think. Is that a little much? A little more than a 1/4 maybe?
Pretty close to half, I'd say. Yeah, that's probably close to it.
All right. Yeah. That's it. And then,
again, this is just the poolish portion of it, which if you're unfamiliar with a poolish, it's kind of like a cheater sourdough starter. Like it's the mother culture that you really kind of make it overnight, and then you have, you know, it's not quite a sourdough. It's not gonna have all the same notes and flavors and texture, but it's pretty close. How much water?
250. Again, calls for 500.
grams.
Yeah. So it's a 100% hydration here on the poolish.
251. But aiming for 250. So it was, what was the weight again? Just one more time. We had flour.
It was 250. Again, this is our half batch. 250 of water. So 250 of flour. 250 water.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the 1/16 teaspoon, and then you just combine it and cover it and leave it. I think it says 12 to 14 hours until it's going to be really bubbly and gassy, and I think he said like tripled inside. So this doesn't need any folds or anything, because this isn't giving our bread any structure. This is just like the pre-ferment for like flavor.
It's pretty liquidy, jiggly, and quite bubbly. Okay, so that's what it should look like when it's done and ready to go. Remember, the poolish is just kind of your cheater starter, right? It's the culture that you're going to be adding to the recipe.
The recipe has you mix up the rest of the ingredients, which is everything you'd expect, but you know, less of it, since we already have a lot of our flour and water in the poolish, because it's the flour, salt, and yeast, remaining yeast, and then the water goes in the poolish, and then you combine.
Okay.
So first the flour, that's 250. So it's 500 total between the poolish and this final, I don't know what you call this, the rest of the dough, the final dough. Right,
because it's pretty standard. A dough is usually somewhere around 400 to 500 grams is a pretty standard dough for a single loaf of bread. But as we said, we do it differently. So from this point on, after we get through this mixing phase, then we kind of change the recipe into something that's for just our pizza dough.
So I do like 10 or 11. I'm doing 1 teaspoon and then like eyeballing half of a second one. Half. There we go.
Perfect.
How to do it when you don't have tiny enough teaspoon measurements. Okay. Okay, and now, so then this needs a little bit of a mix, and then we'll put the water in the poolish and the remaining water, and then combine the two. All right, so 125. A little bit more. All right, now we're gonna mix, and this is gonna be pretty messy. So I'll wet my hand, trying to keep it from getting too sticky.
Right. You wet your hands. It helps with the stickiness.
All right, so the folding and pinching is how he recommends.
And this going way back, I don't know, our blog is 3 or 4 years old now at this point.
Yeah.
I think we started it about a year after you first got this book, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is going back to, I think the Saturday loaf was the first loaf you made of his, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we started working with this poolish. So this is fun. We haven't made it in a long time. We actually had some gluten allergies and things develop in our household, and we've been working and trying to figure out how to with our son. So we've been working to try to figure out how to make gluten-free bread and using sprouted grains, and we did all kinds of diets and things, and tried to work on healing his gut and recovering his tolerance for gluten. And it seems like we've made it there, but it's been a couple years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just barely getting back into working with these doughs again. So that's why our channel's been a little dead. A lot dead.
Bench scraper.
Sure. So anyway, it's fun to get back into this. Just a little side tangent to what we're doing here. I'll get you the plastic one.
Yeah, that is what I wanted. Thank you. It's a little bit.
And a theory that I've had was also, or that I had read and I was starting to really kind of think, is the more you work with dough, the less sticky your hands get. And I don't know. I remember thinking, I don't know if that's too true, but I remember because there was a season there where I was doing all of our baking,
mm-hmm.
and you just kept having a hard time when you'd step in. It would stick to your hands, and I would say, well, it's not sticking to my hands. I don't know what's going on. It's not that bad. But now that I just started back up again, I noticed that it just sticks to my hands really, really bad again. So I don't know if that's just your fingers and your hands get some muscle memory and you just learn to work with the dough differently over time, or if it is true. Some people say bakers' hands have different cultures living on them because they're so often in cultured dough, and that might work to make their hands less sticky. I don't know, but I'm starting to believe that theory because now that we're getting back into dough again, I'm almost like, man, I feel like a beginner again with how sticky this dough is. So anyway, let it. Hopefully this encourages you. Like we said, we're not experts. We've spent a lot of time baking and learning, and started our blog and this YouTube channel. But we're kind of getting back into it again now that we can enjoy bread without having any side effects. All right, so you're just continuing that. She's grabbing and pulling and folding it over. It's a really simple. It's not a kneading process, but it kind of is a gentle kneading.
Yeah, this is more for mixing, and then he says when the dough has some tension to let it rest a few minutes, like a couple minutes, and then give it a couple more, and then start the folds. So I think we're about,
yeah, it definitely is
there. So
all right, so this was resting out for 5 minutes uncovered.
Now we're just gonna give it its final little fold to mix. Let's scrape down the sides first.
All right, so you're gently pulling it off the sides. Is that what you're doing? Scraping the sides down?
Yeah, and then I just don't want to get my hands all sticky again.
Okay, so you're using that to do your folds.
Yes.
Which you can. That's what's handy about these plastic ones.
Yeah.
They work a little better than the big metal bench scrapers. At least for working inside of a bowl.
Yeah, this is really nice. Okay. So that's probably good. For now, I just see it's got a little bit more like tension, holding together a little bit more of a ball. So we're going to cover it, and now this says this needs 2 or 3 folds. Best to do it in the first hour. So I think when we made this last week, I did 3 folds, and I just set a timer for 15 minutes. And each 15 minutes, I'd give it a fold. So we'll do that. We'll cover this guy. Set a timer for 15 minutes.
Perfect. So we need to cover it, and then it needs 3 rounds of folds in the first hour that it's now proofing. So,
so it doesn't have to be exactly in 15 minutes. You know, if the timer goes off and we're like right in the middle of something.
But it's good to give it at least 10. Preferably somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes is a good time. And the reason for that is that's how long it takes for gluten fibers to relax. You can see this is flattened out quite a bit since we let it sit. It's only been 15 minutes, but that's what you get with such a high hydration dough. They're really slack doughs, really floppy, really sticky. So we're going to go ahead and do the folds. Carrie's going to do it. She's probably going to get her hands away so they stick less to the dough.
Yeah, but it's already way...
So you're stretching. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it so you can see the stretch. There we go. So she pulls it out. You're wanting to give it some tension by pulling, but you don't want to pull so much that it tears. Sometimes you can't avoid it, but you'll notice the tension after just a few folds gets kind of tight, starts fighting against you, so you can't really stretch it anymore without it tearing. And so we're like kind of getting to the end already almost. As you can see, like the tear develops right there on the bottom, and she flips it over. So
that's it.
That's it.
Do it again for 15 minutes.
So 2 more of those.
All right, we're at the second fold. So it's been another 15 minutes.
You see how active it is, huh?
I know, it's so fun. And we've had this covered the whole time with our
Stop beating me up.
Amazing plastic wrap. So same thing as before.
Just want to say nobody's beating my son up. He's just playing a video game over there. Just for the record.
And so same thing, stretch and fold around a few times.
There you go. You can already see it's tight. Yeah. And again, it's much tighter than the first one. So you're going to notice as you go along, it's getting tighter and tighter. That's the gluten structures developing. It's still a pretty slack dough because it's so high hydration. So if this is your first time working with a dough like this, it might not really feel tight to you at all as you're stretching, but you'll see, like you saw just there, hopefully I gave you a camera angle, you were able to see the dough. Her first stretch that she did was much longer than that last stretch. All right, the final fold. Here's what it's going to look like. So it's getting puffier each time. And then, here we go. So you can see it's nice and stretchy that last time. Try to get a good, there you go. You can see how stretchy it is. And now watch, you're gonna instantly see, oop, not getting as stretchy. Wasn't able to pull it. And this last one's probably gonna be even tighter. And it's really
one more little
bloop. There we go. And you're gonna flip it over.
It's been 45 minutes.
Okay.
So probably, 1 to 2 hours at this point.
Okay, so.
Until doubled or tripled, it says.
And it's pretty chilly. It's a winter day and dark out there. So I'm definitely gonna say it's at least 2 for us. So you're looking for it to double to triple in size.
Yep.
And after that, we'll come back and we'll separate it into 3 different balls. We'll show you how to do that. All right, so we have our pizza dough here that we're going to separate. You are going to dump it out and split it up into however many balls that you're going to need. We're going to make 3 pizzas with the amount that we made, and so we're going to split it up into 3. And what we're going to do is go ahead and have a few bowls. We have 3 bowls. All you can see in the camera is 2 right now, but 3 bowls that are oiled so that you can put the balls in there, or bules in there. Okay, so we're just going to take a little bit of flour, not a whole lot, just to get the top a little flour on it. You want to have some on your hands as well, just a little bit. And then again, I'm gonna do a light sprinkling, not too much flour. You don't want a lot, because you're not going to deflate the dough, and you actually are going to form it into some balls. And too much flour means that you're just not going to be able to form it into a ball too much. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't paying too much attention here, and I put a little too much flour down, but I'm spreading it out so that I don't have too much in any one particular spot. Okay, you don't have to do that, but I put a little too much down. Just be honest, you know, this is real baking here. So I'm going to be real gentle, kind of coming along the sides. I'm going to put a little bit more flour in here just for my hands so that they don't get stuck to the side here. But I'm just putting my fingers down and kind of cupping around the edges of the dough. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull it all the way out onto the table here. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of get it into its shape a little more on my hand so I'm not sticking too much. Again, I'm trying not to deflate this dough too much, okay? And so I'm trying really hard to avoid completely flattening it. Now the next step is to just go ahead and get this as close to a circle as I can right now so that I can divvy this thing up. So I'm just gonna go with thirds here as best as I can. Okay, it's not quite a circle, so I'm just gonna have to eyeball it, and I think that's gonna get me pretty close to that right there. Okay, all right, so I went ahead and cut through right there. I'm gonna cut this guy up completely off and get him over. Okay, so again, I told you this dough is pretty sticky. I'm gonna throw it over here so you can see, and without deflating it, I'm just gonna kind of try to round this into a ball. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this guy here and I'm coming up underneath and spinning it and letting the tackiness on the bottom attach here. This is why you don't want too much flour, because that's what's going to help you create your tension as you're making your round. Okay, I'm just going to come around, and with my offhand I'm just kind of helping tuck it up and underneath. Okay, and now that I have this here, I don't want to get it too tight because the top will tear, but I basically have the ball that I want. Now, because this is a flat bread, I don't really have to do too much forming or shaping. This is why I didn't flatten it and any of that stuff, because this is going to be a flat bread. It's pizza, so you don't really need to add that extra support into the dough. In fact, I like my pizza dough to be really light and airy. When all is said and done, you have a nice crisp bottom of your pizza with a light fluffy top, and the crust will be nice and airy and really soft because of this. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pick this guy up and put it off over into the bowl there, and all I'm going to do is just hit it with a little bit of flour on top, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to try to remember where that line was over here and go ahead and cut. And I kind of am fibbing here just a little bit. I tried to make one a little smaller. This one is smaller because this is my son's pizza, so we make it just a little bit smaller for him than the other two, but you'll want to get it as close as you can. And there you go. See, that's how quick it is if you're not talking through it. So we hit the top just a little bit, and then we drop it down into the dough, and we're going to do the same thing with this guy. Just going to round it up just like that. Okay, and now he's ready to go. We'll hit it with a little bit of flour on the top and drop it in to the bowl. Okay, and that's it. We're going to cover this up right here. We're going to clean out our bowl. We're going to wipe off our board, and we're going to let these things sit in the refrigerator for several hours. They can stay overnight if you want to, but we're throwing them into the fridge. They're going to sit in there until this evening when we bake off the pizzas. Okay, so we have our dough that's been in the fridge for about 3 hours. It could sit longer, but it's plenty long. So we're gonna go ahead and take some flour. We're actually gonna like use quite a bit of flour at this point. We really need, our oven just beeped to let us know that it's ready to go. But we need a lot of flour on our work surface because we really are, with pizza, you're getting it
All
nice and stretched out. Yeah, you're getting it all stretched out.
And all flour.
And you need it to not be all that sticky when you get to it. So
Wow.
I'm pulling it out and making sure that I keep the air still in it, especially on the outside. So we're gonna start by just kind of pushing in the middle and only the middle. And then I'm gonna try to like pick it up gently. I don't know if you can see that. And very gently pick it up and flip it over. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing here on this side, pushing only on the middle. And I'm gonna give it just a little more flour on this side. And so then I gotta pick it
My
up.
pizza will
I'm gonna start by
throw
working my way around, not pinching the edges. So I'm trying to pinch and stretch the middle out. Once it gets really thinned, where I could start to see light coming through it, it was time to put it down. And from there, I'm gonna start working my way out to the edge. So you notice how all the air is getting pushed to the edge of the crust, right? We don't want to push it down anywhere on the crust.
Can I try?
Okay? So we're working our way out. What are you wanting to try?
What you were doing?
Yep, we're pushing it out just like that. So I'll show you. I'll turn it around this way. And so we're gonna put our fingers here and we're just gonna slowly push till we get a little further out. And we're gonna, here, I'll show you exactly how you do it. You push down a little bit and out, and out, and out, and out, just like that. Good job. Good job. Yep. And then I'll push a little bit with you too. So we're wanting to stretch it as we go without flattening it. Here, I'll twist it around, make it easier. That's how we do it. Twist it around and keep pushing our way out. Being very gentle there. Good job. Okay, now work it. And it is now at this point, once you stretch it this far, it wants to start pulling back in. So you're gonna have to go through a couple times pushing it out and working your way around, right? And I'll use my palm a little bit in some areas to keep pushing. But we're almost there. We're almost to the size that we want. So this is like a medium or a small, right in the middle there, right? Okay, how's it looking, Kai?
Good.
All right, so what ingredients are you gonna throw on yours?
I'm gonna pepperoni. That's all.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
No. Do you think it's time for the sauce?
It's time for the sauce. Doing great. I'll get the sauce a little closer too for you. Now go ahead and pour some on here. And you can work it in as needed. There we go.
Yeah, I think that's enough pepperoni.
Enough pepperoni? All right.
Yeah, because there was so much last time that the whole thing would come off like...
Slide this off over here. And then it's going to go in our little gourmet oven. We're going to do this for about 10 to 15 minutes. So somewhere around 10 minutes is good. Look at that crust. Yum! The air pockets in there. Bottom's nice and crispy, soft top. Nice airy crust, guys. We're gonna get some good pizza tonight. Yum, yum, yum. Doesn't get better.